Hello, I'm Heather,
I'm Cardyn.
and welcome to the Bitchy Quill, a podcast where we talk about publishing from a feminist perspective. We also do guest mini interviews, and today we have author Jessica Sparrow. Welcome, welcome. We are so glad to have you today. And I'm sure Cardyn has something to say.
I just wanted to know, how did we meet you?
Uh, it's interesting because I've heard of the Right Woman Book Fest. I believe was through Facebook years ago, and I've always had the intention of going as a just just to check things out, more so as like an audience type thing. And I never had the chance to go because, like, for whatever reason, it just coincides with some like odd thing going on, with life or family stuff, obligations or whatever. And just this year, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go as an author. Also, Heather came out to one of my book fests over at Laurel College Center, and I was like, I have to go. And I'm so sad it was the last year. So but it was great, and I got to meet a couple of great people and some people that I had worked with before. But that's basically how I met you all.
Oh, and you do other events too. Like I think you do the creatures and what is it called?
I do. Oh, so
You have in the past. You've attended in the past,
I've
right?
attended. Yes, I've
Yeah,
attended other events. Yes.
right.
Sorry, I was like, no,
No, I knew
I haven't. Yeah.
your event with your little event over at the college. I really like that. And plus it's so close to my house. I was like, how could I not do
Yeah,
that?
yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
hope you'll be able to do one in the future if you need
Yes,
a little help. I mean, I that's so close to my house and I could, if I get enough warning, I could probably help you a little bit with that.
definitely. I would definitely
Um,
reach out about that maybe before December, just to kind of throw out feelers. But yeah.
so one of the things I like to ask every writer, as from a writing perspective, as a writer and
Mhm.
as a reader, this is a question I often want to know the answer to. And so I try to ask everybody if I remember to do that. And I think a lot of readers want to know this as well as what made you want to be a writer?
Um, I mean, it's probably going to come off very cliche, but I just feel like I was born wanting to tell stories. Um, and when I really think about it, I do come from a long line of storytellers in the family, where we find ourselves sitting around the fire or hanging out together or whatever party. It just like when things quiet down and we get to talking, and it's always scary stories, right? Or lore that comes from like certain generation past stuff. And so I just feel like I sort of engaged in that and telling stories. And then being as an 80s kid, TV and movies raised me. So it's just, I had that innate feeling of wanting to share whatever pictures were in my head, with everyone else, and to kind of just get it out there. But in particular, there was a time where I think it might have been like fourth or fifth grade. We had I don't know if you guys remember like the spelling sheets that the teachers would hand out, and they were just like, use these words, write a story, or use them in sentences. And I wrote a short Halloween story using those particular words, and the teacher was so impressed. Yeah, I'm one of those like teacher's pet kids. Don't tell anybody. And so the teacher was so
We won't tell
impressed.
anyone.
We'll cut that out of the show. No, I'm joking. But yeah, so the teacher just went around showing other teachers, and that feeling of like grown-ups especially, right? Because when you're a kid, a lot of grown-ups don't listen to you, but the fact that they're paying attention to something that you created, that you put on paper, was just, I don't know, it just was food for the fodder. I was like,
It
oh,
made you
like give
feel
it
like
some
it
more.
mattered. It mattered,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah,
My
exactly.
story, my words matter. You're the second person to mention the spelling
Oh,
turning into a
really?
whole story thing. So I think that is really interesting that a just a regular thing that teachers do, which is to write a sentence with this word in it, and you've got tractor in there, and then all of a sudden there's a whole farm story there
Sure.
for it. But I love that, and I think a lot of people are either born writers or they have something that they have to say, and the only way they can say it that they're comfortable with is to become a writer. And I think that's beautiful.
Thank
So I did want to have one question, if you don't
you.
mind, Cardyn.
Of
I want
course.
one question about too. You're in more than one genre now, aren't you? Where you originally started in like horror.
So,
Am I remembering wrong?
so so I'm still in horror. But I kind of feel like horror itself has like so many subgenres to it that it's
Hmm.
very easy to kind of lean over to like, okay, we're no longer in the horror side. So technically a lot of my writing and inspiration for writing comes from like gothic horror. And as we all know, Gothic horror is like very heavy on the prose. There's a lot of romanticism in it. Even the ugly side of that particular genre, there's romanticism tied to that. So I feel like it's more the audience that would like put me in a specific genre. I mean, like so far, the only book that I have published is my poetry collection, and it's labeled Visions. It's titled Visions and Nightmares of a Gothic Rican because there's a little bit of me in there, and so I feel like you can kind of see the different genres. You know, there's horror, there is um, speculative fiction, mysticism, there is like just love and romance, and so I kind of just wade around all those waters. Like there's occultism, spiritualism, as you would call it. But I think it just really all depends on who in particular in the horror genre you're asking where I will fall under. And I just feel like it'll be between they'll consider the magic realism that I refer to as like maybe being like fantasy. So yeah. I mean, I haven't delved into like any like romance writing itself, like just romance. I've thought of it, but I somehow I always find myself throwing something spooky in there because it's it's what drives me.
And for the audience, you're saying Gothic Rican.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yes.
yes,
Like Gothic and Puerto Rican, right?
yes,
Yes.
Yes.
yep.
Okay.
Um,
So
uh,
with
yeah,
yeah,
I'm
go ahead.
sorry. Go ahead, Cardyn. Your turn.
Well, what I was going to say is that was it leads right into my question, which is you talked about that elementary school experience of the teacher who validated your talent. So
Mhm.
then from that point, what are some of the steps? How did you move forward towards writing as an adult, and also maybe moving from that point, who and what um, influenced you? Because it sounds like horror has always been kind of the hook for you. And then how did that
Mhm.
evolve for you?
Sure, that's a great question. It's just like getting into the whole little life experience of little Jesse and um so right once that little spelling sheet thing was done. I haven't written anything in a long time until I got into high school and I started getting into poetry. And I just, you know, just as a way to sort of express my feelings and my thoughts, I just really delve into it. And I noticed that in my poetry, it just was like very, the alliteration and everything was just very dramatic and heavy and very morbid. And it was just like immediately stamped as like, yeah, I think I was just born and raised to be a gothic baby in general. But
Perfect for spooky season, which
yes,
we are
yes,
approaching right now.
yes, it's my
This
favorite
is your
season.
time of year, right?
Yeah, yeah, I love it. But so there was like poetry and it was never influenced by any real person. Well, let me rephrase that. by any mentor or a teacher or anything at the time when I was in high school, up until I joined this. We were a separate group from the debate team, but we used to travel with the debate team. And we were to recite stories by memory, and that was the competition. And my story that I got assigned to was The Telltale Heart by Edgar Allan Poe. And ever since then, I mean, I've seen
Perfect.
the Vincent Price movies growing up with like The Raven. I've
Hmm.
watched a lot of the Hammer horrors growing up with my mom. My mom is big on horror as well. So I've seen like those things were influences on me in regards to movies, but really sitting down and taking in his words and reading them over and over again until they were in my memory and until I can recite them in the vein of Vincent Price, right? It's just like it just stuck with me for so long. And mind you, this wasn't a high school in Maryland. I wasn't born and raised here. I was born and raised in New Jersey. This was in Newark, New Jersey, East Side High School off of Van Buren Street, not to confuse it with the
Represent.
one over east. Yeah. um, but yeah, I was heavily influenced with that. And I wanted to read more Poe and I wanted to read more Gothic stuff. And so I just kind of really got stuck on Poe naturally and was just reading all of his works. And then from high school, years passed, didn't really pick up any more writing. We moved out here. It wasn't until I would say maybe when I went back into college, like a year after we moved, and took a creative writing class and got really into that, and not just turned in, again, going back to the teacher's pet, the final project was to turn in either a short story or a couple of poems, and I did both. Like my first time trying short story. So, um, so it went from there, and then what really helped me in the growth of my writing was finally doing my master's with SNU, my thesis. My master's is an MFA in creative writing. So I my thesis was basically to write a novel and to finish it. And so that really honed it in and just made me buckle down and delve deeper into not just in the Gothic world, but more into my culture
Hmm.
and how I was just like, I was so obsessed with Masterpiece Theater and all the movies and all the renditions of Jane Eyre and just loved all the Gothic horror and all of that literature. But there was a key missing there, and I didn't see a lot of representation of people like me. And the only representation that I saw was, um, Bertha Mason and Jane Eyre, and the way she was described was horrific. It was just terrible. And so I was just like, well, I can redo that sort of. I can do the genre in more of my take. So that's why I always say like I'm a Puerto Rican Gothic horror writer, because it's important to me to have that representation in there. I mean, we did exist in the 1800s and we lived a very Victorian life, just like everybody else. So, um, yeah, and my influences naturally were growing up a lot of white European writers. And as I got into college and got to open my network with writers by joining conferences and such, I became heavily influenced by other POC writers who write horror. Um, Marie Woods, who is an exceptional female horror writer. Sina Paleo, who is a Puerto Rican horror writer. She's one to watch out for too, because she's just knocking it out of the park everywhere. So, I just really was just trying to grasp at not just, the influences of like, I don't want to forget about the main influences I had in the beginning, um, but they don't resonate with me wholly, if that makes sense. So that's why I started pulling in, a lot of other Hispanic horror writers and other POC horror writers.
No, that's your through line, though. It feels like at every stage of your development into uh, an author is academics. Like, so when I'm
Hmm.
laughing when you say your teacher's pet, because it sounds like rigorous study is a key element of who you are, whether
Hmm.
you're pursuing writing or not. It seems like you're very diligent.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
And
that's
representation.
why your teacher's pet. That's what they
No,
love.
and that's why I work at a college, and yeah, so it's you're right. I mean, it's even in my ambiance here, right? Like you got the dark
Yes, I
academia
see
thing
your Edgar
going.
Allan Poe Scotsese. Yes.
Oh yeah, my shrine.
Now, do you find those? Do people know you love Edgar Allan Poe? So when they come across something, do they give it to you? Yeah.
Hmm. They know that I love, especially like when it comes to Edgar Allan Poe stuff. They're
Yeah.
like, "Oh, nailed it! Like it's
Yeah.
perfect
Yeah.
gift." But they also know that like I'm really into gothic horror, so I'll get stuff
Mm.
like different Dracula books and different Frankenstein books. Um, I don't have enough, so keep it coming.
You've heard it, y'all. If you're gonna get her a gift, you know what to get her. It's got to be Poe. It's got to be Frankenstein. It's got to be Dracula.
Hmm.
Those are good. Again, it's spooky season, people. Of course. Representation in horror, I think, is maybe in some ways. I don't know a lot about horror writing myself. I mean, I
Sure,
do
yeah.
read some horror, classic horror. Like I'm not way down into horror, but it feels like horror is really lacking from what I've seen in diversity. So I'm glad to see that there's more people that are going out there trying to make it. It's really important to see yourself in things. I
Hmm.
mean,
Sure.
that matters. It really matters, and I'm glad that you're doing that. And
Thanks.
I'm glad that we had a chance to meet you. I'm wondering two things. I
Hmm.
have my standard question I'm supposed to ask you next, but before that, you mentioned that you for college were supposed to write a novel. Was that
Hmm.
what ultimately ended up being your poetry book, or did you write a?
No.
Okay,
So
you tell.
I do have a debut novel. Excuse me. I graduated in 2020. So that should give you like a good context for like thank you for like how long I've had this debut novel. It's right now the title is The Amber Within. It may change, but it is a Puerto Rican Gothic horror. I've been working on it for years and years. I mean, I went from finishing it for my thesis to I don't know if you guys remember how the one social media outlet with the bird that we all will not name right now used to do these pit mad
Yes.
campaigns.
Yep. Yep.
So a friend of mine who's also a writer, Vaughn A. Jackson, he's a horror writer as well. We were like, you know what, let's partake in this together. Let's do it, whatever. We both have like something to throw out there. And so we did. And I actually got a couple interested and I ended up acquiring an agent at the time. And, we worked very diligently on edits over and over and over again. And lifed very hard for me during that stint. And eventually I had to tell my agent, like, hey, listen, I am not in the frame of mind to do anything. I'm so sorry. Thank you so much for
Sorry
this
about that.
opportunity. And, we parted ways. And I just put the book to the side for a really long time. And then this year was supposed to be the year that I was going to do the rewrites. And every time I open it, I'm just like, oh, it's like I get to it for like the first couple of pages and I start doing the notes and everything. And then next thing you know, it's just like 2025 has been very interesting for a lot of people and not in a good way.
Yes.
So,
May I make this
so
suggestion, Jessica, and
sure.
take it for what it's worth? May I suggest maybe just pick it up and just read it? Don't have a pen
Mm,
and pencil. Like, don't don't try to make notes. Like, try to do one read through just so that you're refreshed with what you
Hmm.
actually have, and
Okay.
take a breath or a beat a day, a week, a month, a couple of months, and then do a second read where you're actually taking notes. And because I know everybody's different, everybody's approach
Sure.
is personal, but what I have found over the years is sometimes your brain needs space to like chug about things, especially if
Hmm.
it's something that you worked on really hard,
Yeah.
really put a lot of energy to into. Sometimes if when you go back to it, you need to remind yourself of what you already have, and then
Okay.
you need some space to compute, to think about it a little bit. Because I'm guessing that when you picked it up and then started taking notes, that's a little overwhelming.
Yeah, yeah, it has been. Thank you. I probably should do that. Maybe I should just read it as like I'm just reading it
Just
for
yeah,
enjoyment.
just a refresher to remind yourself.
Yeah.
And because I haven't read anything that you've written yet, but this conversation makes me think that you're a very talented writer. And what
Oh,
I
thank you.
suspect is gonna you're welcome. What I suspect is gonna happen is if you just give yourself that grace to do the read through the first time, I think you'll be like, oh, that's good. Oh, I forgot that. Oh, I like that. Like, like refresh your memory
Yeah.
of
Yeah. That's
why you invested so much energy and time and effort in it.
yeah. No, that's
So that
actually great advice because maybe I should just do that. It'll sort of relieve the pressure of like, all
Yes.
right, we're gonna sit down and do these edits.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank
Yeah.
you.
You're welcome. I hope it works because I'm very excited. Also, that's very selfish because I'm like, really, I need you to publish that so I can read it.
we're
Like,
gonna need you
Like
to hurry up and
hurry up.
we're gonna need that by next spooky season, please.
Yeah, I know. I'm like, it's got so much great stuff. It talks about, the orishas because like that's kind of a little bit of my upbringing and my culture that we talk about the spirituality or for some that we refer to it as occultism. It deals with all of that. It deals with, the main character having to go back to her homeland that she's left since she was a baby, so has no idea of all the injustices that is happening right there before her, where she was just dealing with more racial prejudices back at the UK. So yeah, no, you're right. I'll do the read through because it, trying to do those notes every time, it's just like, what's happening here?
So that kind of brings me to my next
yeah,
question, which is a similarly related question. Based on what you just said, it sounds like this is your current project, although
Yeah,
it keeps getting paused. Do you have another project that you're working on or thinking of working on, setting aside that if and when you finish, I'm going to say
yeah.
when you finish that novel, or even between, if you just say, hey, I'm not going to work on this year or next year, right now I'm going to write this other thing. So do you have other things that we can look forward to seeing from you?
Yeah, I'm actually in the first stages of development, like of creating a short story collection that has to do with a theologist. And of course, this is like also based in the 1800s, female theologist at that, who gets called on by the church to investigate certain supernatural happenings. So each short story has to deal with that in different places. Um, One in particular, of course, will be like in Puerto Rico, and I'm thinking of ending the collection over in Iceland because it's another one of my favorite places to be at. Where let's just say that it's a very isolated place, and she finds herself having to pseudo perform her own exorcism.
An
So
exorcism. Woo!
her own exorcism.
Oh my
Yeah.
gosh, that okay. Yeah, we're gonna need your spooky season stories, please. Make
chop
haste.
chop.
I'm getting there, but it's
I
coming,
know.
I promise.
Really, no pressure. Pressure in our hearts as readers who
Yeah.
are
Yeah,
totally
yeah, no.
intrigued.
And also, like, I want people to remember this is something I think we should just bring up every single time we do an episode for readers who are listening to this. These authors, these make great gifts. Maybe you're not into horror, or gothic poetry, or maybe you're not Puerto Rican, but maybe somebody you know is into these things or interested in more representation. Please pick up a book by these authors. We've got a lovely author here who's obviously talented and
Thank you.
available to make these things. I mean, I get a little in my feelings about the authors that we talk to and that we
Mhm.
interview, and of course our book fest. One of our big regrets for our book fest is that we cannot go to every single person's table. We can't read everybody's book.
Sure.
It's just too many people. um just making the book fest itself is extremely time consuming. So
Hmm.
it is these little conversations help us have that moment that we don't get at the book festival. And one of the things I do say at the book festival is, if you're going to come, please if you're not going to buy a book for yourself, or maybe you can't find anything that's you're into, these make great gifts, birthday gifts, Christmas gifts, Halloween gifts. It doesn't matter. They are wonderful gifts because you can get them personalized if you buy them directly from the author of
Hmm.
any of their events. You can say that you've met the author if you go to the events. And there's just nothing else quite like giving a person who loves books a book that's personalized that
Sure.
way.
And
And
even housewarmings, books are great because people can
yes,
add to their home library.
and I also want to
Exactly.
mention that a lot of authors will send you a nameplate. Say you buy the book off of a big retailer because that's where it's available, and you can't buy it directly from the author. Sometimes if you email them, they'll send you a little signed nameplate or something that you can put in your book. So readers, please think about that. And these are ways that you can support the publishing community and women authors of all kinds. This is a way that
Hmm.
you can support that system, especially right now when we need art support more than anything. So
Yeah.
um, it's been so lovely talking to you. Let me just make sure I've asked all the questions I'm supposed to. Oh, Cardyn has her big question.
Yes, yes. So, what what are like kind of your top three ways when you think of the best ways that readers or potential readers of your work could support you? Because like I don't know, like
Sure.
are you on one of the, reading sites? Do you want people to request your book at their local library? Like when you think of your top three ways you wish readers would support you, do you want them to sign up for your newsletter or follow your blog or anything like that? What are your top three things you wish people would do to support you?
One in particular, definitely my poetry collection is out on Amazon.
Okay.
Uh, please review it. Honest review. If you're
Yeah.
gonna give me 0 stars,
Right.
I mean, whatever, but
I'm
at
going to
least put
countermand
something
that. I'm
out
going to say
there.
if you give it 0 stars, don't give it any. Number one, can't imagine that your book is going to get 0 stars.
Well, you know what I mean, but like at least
Right.
make the effort.
Right.
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 Just something like
Right.
if there was a particular poem or something
Right.
that like grabs
Right.
at you, or even
Mhm.
if you said like, hey, I bought this for a gift for somebody
Right.
and they loved it.
Right. Right.
Please, reviews matter so much. You can't understand like how it makes a big difference. I mean, for instance, like if I go shopping for something, even on Amazon, I'm constantly reviewing, certain
Right.
things just
Yeah.
to make sure like is it going to be worth my while? Because
Yeah.
but please review it on Amazon. The other one would be to follow me on social media. I'm mostly either on Instagram or TikTok. You can follow me under Sparrow's Inkwell for Instagram, and I believe for TikTok it's just Jessica L. Sparrow. But I also have a link tree if you want to go on that.
And I'll put that
Uh,
in the
yeah.
description.
And then the third, yeah, if you know your local library or any local bookstores in the Maryland area that is looking to host authors, or if you're a local bookstore or a local library looking to host authors, especially during this season, which September 15th to October 15th, and I don't give a what anybody says is Hispanic Heritage Month. Okay, even though like we should be kind of pushing other authors out there every day of the year, but in particular, um, yeah. So if anyone's looking to have somebody to talk to them about um, that genre in particular, or and even read some of my work, I also done talks at my particular college with regards to Puerto Rican culture and heritage and yeah, and stuff like that. So I'd be really happy to do that. Yeah, and that's pretty much it is for me right now because I don't have a newsletter yet, and I don't know if I'm going to delve into that, but we'll see.
Do
No
you
pressure.
do you want to? Are you prepared? Could you be prepared? Would you like, do you have a short poem you'd like to read to us from your collection?
Um, sure. Let me pull it up from here. Right here. Since we kept talking about spooky season. And nice profile. All right, this one's called His Own Words. I never took a liking to Insidious' term. However, I knew the purpose of his composition to make others squirm. Nonetheless, I must protest. See, my work was executed with fine precision. Every sling, a premeditated decision that no other would ever match. My art is beyond the measures of the past. I carefully cut those would-be corroded cadavers, only to have my reputation be honed down to an unscrupulous Mad Hatter. Who are they to dub me a flittering clipper? I'm far too slicker to be posted in the papers as a mere evening thriller. My hands never faltered as I sliced precisely right. Huh, I let my craftsmanship speak for me, and you would wholeheartedly agree that I am not some deranged, mundane killer. I'm beyond that, a pioneer, if you will, for to this day, not one has yet to forget and figure who from hell was Jack the Ripper. Thank you.
Very nice. And that takes us right on into spooky season. So we appreciate
Yeah.
that because that's my favorite time of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here.
I'm itching to put my Halloween decorations out.
I know. I'm waiting for like September 22nd because my husband, he's a summer baby. Even though
Uh,
he loves Halloween too. I mean, we
right.
got married on Halloween.
I love
But I
it.
have to sprinkle in the Halloween decorations without him realizing that.
And then next thing he knows, on the 22nd, it's like, ta-da!
He's looking
Like it's all
around.
over the
Wait a
place.
minute.
How did this
I
happen?
see what's
Yeah.
happening.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
That's so funny. This has
Yeah.
been such a pleasure. Oh, Heather, I stepped on
Yeah.
your
No,
outro. Go.
I'm a year. I actually have some stuff from Halloween I never took down last year, so it's just kind of my vibe. Um, so I will be putting the information down below where people can reach you online and where they can get your book. We thank you so much for being on here with us today. We
Thank
appreciate
you.
you and you weaving your energy into our book fest and into our podcast. It just makes us very happy and we're very grateful. So thank you for that. And we're gonna let Cardyn take it on out for us.
Oh, okay. I was all like into our conversation, not paying attention to the script. That's what I get. Okay, here we go. Thank you for joining us on the Bitchy Quill. Please look for more episodes where we discuss publishing from a feminist perspective and our guest mini-sodes here on YouTube. If you'd like to be a guest on the Bitchy Quill, please email us at therightwomanbookfest@gmail.com. Info will be below in the episode. And I just wanted to thank Jessica again for this fantastic conversation. Thank you so much for making time to talk
Thank
to us.
you.
And let me say this, we're so glad you made it before. We haven't 100% decided that the Right Women Book Fest is no more, but we're at least on a pause. So we're just so glad that you made it from that year that the years you were interested to actually tabling and having a good experience. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you both. I had a great time.
Oh, good. Thank you. And bye.
Bye bye.